What's up, everybody? It's Joe with J Blake Photo. In today's video, we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. First of all, I'm back in the studio, back from my trip from Zion National Park. If you haven't seen those videos, go ahead and check those out. But today's video, we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R3 and some of the new sports lenses that we're going to be getting in the very near future. So before we jump in, just real quick plug for the channel. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and you are into gear, photography, whether it be landscapes, portraits, or whatever, just the technology in general. That is what we talk about on this channel. We do adventures, outdoors, indoors, tech, editing, everything. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if that's stuff that you're into. And also go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. I've got photos from my most recent trip out to Zion National Park and Death Valley National Park. And I'll have more trips coming up soon for cool outdoor landscape photography. Okay, let's jump into the news. So Nokashita on Twitter, as well as a number of the kind of prolific Canon rumor sites, have posted a number of bits of information about an upcoming flagship camera. We've been calling it the R1 or the R1X, but just a few days ago, we got notification that there was a registry filing, right? The type of thing that a company needs to do when they need to register a new product with a government agency, right? So in the United States, it might be the FCC or something along those lines. We got notification that in Russia, a new camera had been registered. Sometimes we see it in Russia, sometimes in Japan, sometimes in the US. You see this kind of thing with iPhones when Apple puts out a trademark or something gets registered again with the FCC. But this was for a new camera. And the way that the serial numbers looked, the way that the model number looked, it wasn't going to be like a PowerShot or a smaller kind of DSLR, that it was definitely going to be an R mirrorless level camera. And then we got this photo of the EOS R3 and just a bit of information that this will be a full body, full frame, full size body flagship style camera from Canon. Looks like it's going to be in the kind of sport shooter variety. Obviously, it has the 1DX stylings. It has that built-in battery grip, and it has that just large form factor. I love this design because honestly, it reminds me a lot of the 1DS Mark III, the one that came out before the 1DX, and some of the older APS-H style sensors that we were getting from Canon, those large body 1.3 crop sensor cameras that were just cool. They were just big honking cameras. And I love those things. They look great with those huge white lenses attached. I thought it was a great look for the camera. Feels hefty in the hand. Not that these cameras don't feel hefty. This is the EOS R with the 24-104 f4 attached. Right now I'm shooting on the EOS R6, both large cameras that feel good in the hand, but I love these larger format cameras with the built-in battery grips. No specs on this camera, of course, but the idea is that we should be getting things soon. Also, it seems that this camera is going to be pointed directly at the Nikon Z9 that was announced this year as a development camera that we should be seeing later this year. That camera is touted as having a stacked CMOS sensor, probably very close to the 50 megapixel sensor that we have in the Alpha 1 from Sony, since Sony does make the sensors for Nikon, as well as the new processor that Nikon will be pairing with that. Additionally, they are advertising that camera as shooting 8K, so my assumption is that this camera will also come with some 8K style video features, perhaps similar to the R5, maybe also with some of the speed or better than the R5, though we don't know. We really just don't know. And if this is the sport shooter camera, right, or sport and wildlife camera with 20 plus or 30 plus frames per second to compete with the Alpha 1 and the Z9, are we still going to get an R1? Is that something that we're going to get this year? We keep hearing about it. Is this it? I don't know. We don't know. But we'll continue to watch for this and see what we get, see what information we get in regards to this new body. In addition to this new body, one of the things that we think about a lot with these sport shooter cameras is, well, we need sport shooter lenses. Not that the EF long lenses don't actually adapt really well onto the RF glass. I know I've been shooting with my 70-200 on this, and I am excited actually to rent something a little bit longer, and I'm going to be taking it out soon. Adapted, of course, but I am excited to give that a try. But there's not a lot of native big glass on the RF mount. Now we know that that's going to change in the next 12 months with the roadmap that we saw, which I've got a video about that, so I'll go ahead and link that up there. Go ahead and click it if you're interested. But we know that things like the 400, 500, 600, 800, 1200 long lenses in the L variety will be coming out soon. And specifically, the 400 and the 600 will be announced really soon. We've also now gotten word that there's going to be a 300 mm 2.8 and a 500 mm f4 that will be added to the lineup and will be released sometime next year. So with those long lenses being added, and as they continue to flesh out the full range of lenses available, especially in those primes on the RF end, combining that with what's still available on the EF end, though many of those lenses are now being discontinued, honestly, you can get just such an amazing breadth of glass on the Canon mount. Since I have switched over to the EOS R6 for sport and wildlife photography, though I don't do a ton of that, when I am doing it, I'm doing it with the R6, definitely over the EOS R with its 3 to 6 frames per second, is the fact that with two of the lenses that I really like to shoot with, my 85 1.4 IS and my 70-200 2.8 IS Mark II, both of those are older EF lenses. They actually have the motor speed to keep up with the high plus frame rates on the EOS R6, which means I can get the full 20 frames per second in the electronic shutter and the 12 frames per second in the mechanical shutter, as long as I'm using an appropriate battery. And that's, so even with adapted EF glass, I can still get full speed. So I'm really happy about that. So even though those older lenses are being discontinued, some of the newer lenses on the EF side still allow you to get the maximum power out of your EOS R6 and R5. But still, it's going to be better when we have actual native glass with the RF mount, where that information pathway is so much faster for the camera. So that's just a little bit of news that we have on this really kind of crazy camera, the EOS R3. I always like the fact that, they had the R5, or the 5D, the 7D, the 6D, the 5D, and then I always felt that the reason that they didn't have a 2, a 3, or a 4 was because it sounded weird, right? Because we say 4D, fourth dimension, 3D, third dimension. It would be weird to have a EOS 3D, because then you're like, well, wait, is it a 3D camera? Is it a dual lens camera? Like, what's that about? And now with the R, they can actually use more of the numbers. I know that's dumb, but that's something I think about. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of information. Let me know down in the comments. Number one, what do you think of the frame rate? Better? Worse? Too much? What do you think of this camera? Is this exciting? Is this what you were kind of looking for? And are these the lenses that you're hoping for? Are you a bird photographer? Do you do a lot of sports? Let me know down in the comments. Excited to hear from you. And I'll be out in the wild doing some shooting soon, and so more videos to come. Thanks. See you in the next one.